Hello.
Hi.
I'm real low key today. This is Deborah Rose, and this is Luann Morris, and this is We're Talking Again. Watch out. And Luann's going to tell you what we're talking about. I'm going to take my picture off. I got to go close some doors. I'll be right back. But tell them what we're talking
Well,
about.
yes, okay. So we want to talk about communication or communication styles. And do you know how to communicate with your grandchildren? With, things have changed. Um, Slang has changed. The way you go about, I don't know if you text with your grandchildren or not, but a lot of times when you text with them, you receive back things like IDK. What is that? I don't know is what it means for kids, but there's all kinds of slang, and unless you stay on top of it, you're going to be lost the next time you talk to the younger generation.
Well, here's what's funny to me is that so I said I'd never text. Never say never. Because now texting is the preferred form of communication, even with businesses. I'm trying to get a hold of the dump. We bought a leather couch there, and we have the warranty on it. And you cannot get anyone on the phone at this business. And they will tell you leave a voicemail or you can text us. And you go to the website and they make you text them as well. Of course, they're not responding to the text either, but still. Um, so even with clients and customers and businesses, texting has become like the thing. And
Well, and even my oldest child is like, "Oh, mom, can you just text me? Why do you have to call me?"
yeah, I so here's the thing. I don't, even though I'm a writer, this is what's ironic. I can write things beautifully and eloquently, and I can paint pictures and all this. But if I'm trying to share something with you that's important to me and I'm emotional, it doesn't come across well. And
No.
I when I'm in a business frame of mind, I'm not eloquent and I'm not painting a picture. I'm doing bullet points, point one, point two, point three. And I have people say all the time, why are you so hostile? I'm not hostile. I'm blunt. I'm just matter of fact, got to get the job done. Can we just, because frankly, I don't like talking on the phone either, but texting is annoying, you know.
Because you cannot convey your
You're
you can't
what?
convey your feelings.
Yes, you can.
You
I'm
can't your
mad.
emotion. Yeah, you have to
I
spell
am
it.
so mad at you. I want to slander you. I want to cut your face, whatever. Yeah, I don't have any problem conveying my emotions. What I have a problem with is that if I show any emotions, it's not overwhelming people with them and letting them think that I have torn them another butthole, you know? It is chaos in my house today. So we're just going to have background noise and it is what it is. So I'm not even going to apologize for it because I don't care.
Well, I can't hear anything I
Okay.
mean, so I don't know what's going on, but
Oh, you know what that means? That means the Zoom filters work really well because I have it on high to get out background noise. So well done. Good job, Zoom.
way
Good
to
job.
go. Way to
Yeah.
go.
Uh,
Well,
here's something. Here's something that had happened to me several months ago that I thought was really funny, and then we can work kind of backwards. You know, one of the things that tears us up in our communications is, of course, it's always been there, the geography. Southerners versus Northerners, Easterner versus Westerners. Even in rap, you had your East Coast and your West Coast. Things like that. So geography has always made a difference in communication. Culture makes a difference in communication. And it's
right.
not just verbal; it's actions and things that you do and you don't do. And I love reading articles that say this is how we know you're American when you're in Europe. One of the things is that you wear white socks and baseball caps. They just think that's horrible over there. Well, I do too. I have found that most of the things that the people in Europe find offensive, so do I. So I don't think I'm really American. I really don't.
Well, I know that my grandson was wearing his baseball cap backwards and his parents went ballistic.
It's kind of dumb because the whole point of a baseball cap is to have the bill in front of your face to protect your face from the sun, so
Mhm.
you're less likely to get skin cancer. So the point of wearing it backwards is there is no point. We'll just get you a beanie, get you a beret, get you a headscarf. You know,
Well, I have a friend that wears his backwards sometimes, but not all the time.
I don't get it. I don't get it. But what happened was is that there was this very heated discussion in social media several months ago, and someone went, "Okay, boomer," to me. Okay, and I'm like, I know I'm supposed to be hurt and insulted by that, but why? All you did was point out my age, and you're right. Based upon the generational divide, I am a boomer. But if you go and look at the characteristics, I'm really more Gen X. And
Well,
so
I think, it's just like I went to a 55 plus, actually was a 60 plus, um,
well,
apartment
thank God you're
complex,
alive. Plus,
apartment complex, because I've been looking for a new apartment, and sometimes you can get a better pricing, and sometimes you get your water paid for. But anywho, I walk in,
water
hello,
paperwork. Did you
hello,
just say
how
you
are
get
you?
your water paperwork? Your water paper? What did you just say?
Water paid for.
Water paid for. Oh my God.
It's like, here we pay our own water and we have to pay for trash.
No, I get that. I thought you said water paperwork, and I don't know what.
Paid for.
Please enunciate, boomer.
Ah, anywho, you know, it does communication sometimes has a lot to do with your mental attitude. And so I was in there, hi, how are you today? And I said, can you I came by to get a floor plan. I've been looking at your complex and I wanted to see what the arrangement was of the one bedroom. She goes, this is a 60 plus apartment complex. Yes, ma'am. I understand that. Is this for you? Yes, ma'am. This would be for me.
Did you
Hmm.
tell her that you weigh more than 60 pounds? I'm sorry. Go ahead with your story.
But the point is, it regardless of whether you're communicating with someone your own age or someone younger, it sometimes your thought processes are not. I guess when I'm talking to her, talking about apartment, she didn't feel that I was over the age of 60.
Well,
I
maybe she
don't,
was thinking what people say to me sometimes. They'll go, "You are so juvenile." I'm like, "Thank you." I think that's one of my best points. I'm one of my better characteristics that I am juvenile. Don't you think? Can I get an amen? Can I get a woo woo? Can I get a thumbs
I
up?
don't, I don't want to, I don't want to call it juvenile. I want to call it younger thinking,
Yes.
because I know juvenile, what are you, 10?
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't,
laugh at fart jokes. Fart jokes are gross. I don't do that. That to me, that's what juvenile is. Fart jokes, body
yeah,
body function jokes. I don't
yes.
like. In fact, I don't like most comedy. Like sitcoms on TV and stuff.
Well, I
It's
certainly don't like the slapstick stuff that they,
well, I like the Three Stooges.
no, I didn't even like them.
I did like the Three Stooges. I did, but I saw more than just their slapstick. But because I was an intelligent child. But anyway, and I was very good at history. But I don't like those vacation movies. The Grizzlies or whatever the Grizzlies or whoever they are go to Hawaii or the kid that got left behind at Christmas.
Oh, Home Alone? You didn't like that? What's
Oh, I
wrong with
hate that.
you?
I hate that crap. It stresses me out. I'm like, oh my God. First of all, I cannot wrap my head around the idea that somebody left their kid at home. I can't even go there, even play acting, because that's so stupid. I can't handle stupid crap, you know? So all these comedy things that people, like they've remade the history of the world, and that's on Netflix now or something. And my daughter goes, "Are you going to watch that?" I'm like, "Hell no! I didn't watch the first one. It was so stupid." I don't like comedy like that. I don't know how we got off on this, but um,
Because it's
again,
about, you said we were talking about juvenile communications. I'm sorry,
right?
my allergies are killing me.
Yeah, I have to get a Kleenex or a tissue. Kleenex is a brand. Tissue is an item.
Yes.
So, but it's just like the thing that's always popping up on social media. Like if you're from the South, you order a Coke, and they go, "Well, what kind of Coke do you want?" Well, I'll take a Dr. Pepper, because we call everything Cokes. In the North, there's sodas. In the Midwest, there's soda pop.
Right.
So there's a standard that people just get used to. And but it's even deeper than that. People have filtering systems for words. So, like what we were talking about comedy, what you think is funny, I don't think is funny. Now, you know what I think is hilarious? I love Black comedies, and that's not about racism for some stupid people. It's about taking something very dark and very traumatic and making fun of it. I love dark comedy. I do. And I think that's because I'm able to laugh at a lot of things that are tragic in my life and see the funny side of it. Um, I like things that are completely unrealistic, that are not human, like aliens, werewolves, vampires, zombies, things like that. And even when they become ridiculously funny, I like stuff like that. But I can't watch that little boy being at home by himself at Christmas. That just
Well, there's a lot of I guess suspension of belief that has to take place. Um, to believe that he got left at home.
who believes that? No one's going to believe that. No one is so going to disengage from reality that they actually believe that's going to happen. And you know what's really ironic? Okay, I'm watching because I watched part of it, and then I usually get up and leave the room when people put something on like that. And I'm going, you know what? That little boy's going to grow up and be a drug addict. And in real life, he did.
But it was not because of the movie.
I bet it was.
Oh, shit.
I bet he was so traumatized by that process. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
So, do you find when you communicate with your grandchildren or Scarlett, do you find that their answers are short and yep and nope and
Okay.
good?
Yes and no. With Scarlett, they're very short. She's very analytical. She's very logical, and she doesn't like to be emotional. So it's like talking to an engineer when I talk to Scarlett. And we've actually had classroom time in my house teaching her how to be more social when texting, because she wouldn't even answer a text. She's like, "I read it. What do you need to know?" I want you to know, I want to know that you read it. So at least say thank you. So I get a TY when I send her, like I like to send her memories that pop up on Facebook where I talked about her. And I'll say, in 2015, I said this. In 2012, I said this. And now I'll get a TY. Thank you.
Well, a lot of times when I think somebody, I think, I don't need to say anything else. I just give a thumbs up.
Well, see, I hate that too.
Well,
But I've got,
yeah.
but I've gotten to where I do it myself because other people do it. It's now giving me permission to do it, because I have found that I can be very engineer-like in my exchanges on texting. Okay. Now, here's what my son does, and I don't get this. And I've seen a few other people do it, but not a lot. He'll go KK for okay. I'm like, why KK? And he goes, well, it's just short. I said, K, the letter K is short. OK is 2 letters. KK is 2 letters. How is that easier? And how does that even make sense to put KK? I have still not figured that one out. But going back to the grandkids, if I text Carlin, who is 2 years older than Scarlett and who is in drama in the band, and he is very emotional, I can say, how are you today? And I'm going to get a 5-page report and text. Okay,
Okay.
I didn't ask for all that, you know. And he and his girlfriend had a fight, and she's moving, but she's going to be going to the same school, and so that's okay. But you know, she's got some health issues, and he's got health issues, and that bonds. And I'm like, son, I know all this. We've talked about this, but I'm going to get that repeated over and over and over. And
Well, how about you could just say how are you feeling at this moment?
oh hell no! Oh hell no!
Oh no.
Hell to the no! Hell to the no! Because if I ask him how he's feeling, we're going to
Oh,
go back to birth.
oh no. No.
I feel this way because this happened, and Dad did this when I was 2, and then of course this happened when Rogan and I was 3 and 4, and so now this is I'm being triggered with this, and
He can
I'm so
remember
sick of
that
that.
far back.
Oh my God, if he doesn't, he just makes it up, And I'm not saying he's lying, but I mean, there is no short and sweet conversation with Carlin. With Scarlett, I'm like, give me more to work with. Tell me more.
So Carlin has found his voice.
Oh my God, he's yours and mine and everyone else's, and he's put him in a genie bottle and he shook it up, and now he has a big ass genie.
Well,
What, doggy?
I
But
I'm just trying to think of the different ways that I communicate. And of course, texting is my least favorite. I'd rather talk.
Messenger is my next least favorite. It's just like texting. It's just through a different format. And I think that's what I object to the most is that if you get phone calls and if you get emails, and if you're like me, you have an email for your different endeavors. So I have like 10 different emails, but I have them all forwarded to one to make it simpler. And then you have texting on phones. You have messages on, if you still have a landline, which we do for Mother, then we have an answering machine on the landline. And then you have every single social media out there has their own messaging system. So then if you're on Instagram, people will message you. From Facebook, they will message you. If they're on Twitter, they will message you. And so I actually miss communications because I don't go to all those formats to check messages. So I'm overwhelmed.
I guess I just don't. Occasionally, I will get communication from somebody else, but my pet peeve though, with even with texting, um, um, if you haven't talked to me in a couple of days, why do you immediately start saying this and that and that and that and blah blah blah? Why don't you just say, "Hey, how you doing?"
Yeah. What happened to the niceties?
Yeah,
And for you younger people, niceties is NICETIES, and it's a way of saying to follow certain protocols of etiquette in conversation.
yeah, yeah. If usually I try to say, "Hey, what's going on? I wanted to let you know, blah 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 blah." If I haven't talked to someone in that day already or the day before, if it's been more than a 24 hours since I talked to them, I just feel like I need to, hey, how's it going?
Be pleasant. Be pleasant. I mean, if you go up to the cashier at Walmart and there's some mess in the aisle, are you just going to start screaming at the cashier? You're going to say, "Hey, I need to tell you something." You open up the conversation, you set the standard, you set the tone. You know. I like doing that in reverse, though. I like to set the tone and freak them out because they think it's going to be something bad.
Well, I think that, even today I was thinking not everyone goes. I went to get my lost title today, and you step up to the window and you're like, "Hi, how are you today?" Instead of just cramming my paper in her face.
Luann lost her title, but she'll always be a queen to me, even though she lost her title.
I'm gonna find my crown and wear it for these.
I'm sitting on my crown. It's spiky. But no one, why okay, as no one has ever been able to answer this to me effectively. Why is calling an older person boomer insulting? Why do people assume that you're a boomer? That just means you were born between this age and this age. Okay, so we all know that you're a boomer. We all know that you're old, and the other thing I hate, and this is from our generation and the Gen X's, is when they group people together by age, and it's, to me, it's just another ism. We have racism, sexism, ageism, blah blah blah. This is reverse ageism when they say all millennials want to live in their parents' basement, or all millennials don't want to get a job.
Yeah, I don't think you can put a label on that because I may be 68 years old according to the calendar, but according to the way I think, I'm not even close.
Well, and you can't lump a group of people together all together in one, and we just seem to, in an effort to, counteract all these isms, age, sex, race, blah blah blah. We've gotten worse because we just keep lumping people in different groups. We change the groups, we're still putting groups together. Frankly, at my age, if I could live in my mother's basement and not get a job, I'd do it in a minute.
My son asked me today, he goes, Mom, if you could go back to being whatever age you want to be, but still, you know, have the knowledge you have now, would you do it? And how far back would you go?
Oh, I'd go back to 5. My God, I'd run that elementary school.
And I said to myself, oh, I'd probably go back to 6 years old.
See, see,
Yeah.
see, yeah.
He goes,
I'd
that
go
far
back.
back?
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
I said,
All those boys that were
yeah.
popping my bra in 3rd grade. I'd take a taekwondo kick right to the face. Boom! I'd knock them out.
And he also wanted to know, well, would you change things? Hell yes.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
If I still had the memories I have now and I go back to age 6, yes, things would change.
You know what the biggest thing I would change is I would take my children to the wilderness and find a pack of wolves and give them to the wolves to raise and let them bring them back when they were grown. That's the biggest thing I would change. I would let those wolves.
No, that sounds like a terrible idea.
I think it sounds fabulous.
That sounds like
Because
a terrible idea.
they would teach them to be independent, but how to work well in the pack. They would teach them how to communicate because wolves are great communicators. See, I thought this through. You think I'm making a joke. I have thought this through. They're great communicators. They know how to adjust to really bad conditions. They know how to share. They know how to protect their young. And they know what hierarchy is, and it's based upon abilities, not upon looks, age, or anything else. It's about abilities. What else do our kids need to know? That's great. They can learn English later. At 18, I'll teach them English and how to walk upright. Stand up straight.
Well, I think that's going to an extreme.
Well, my children are extreme. So what difference does it make? And, people go, well, look at their mother. I resent that.
Well,
I kept them alive.
you're still breathing? What do you want?
They're breathing. They have families of their own. They're self-sufficient. What else do you want from me? What do you want from me?
I took, I I just did not want my children to be in the position I was in when I lost my parents, which was I didn't have a clue about life. And I was 20. I didn't have much of a clue at all. So
Well,
I just think that I probably went overboard the other direction.
think that you can ever properly prepare someone for life because you don't know what kind of life they're going to have. Now, you can teach them how to grocery shop, and you can teach them how to clean, you can teach them how to iron, you can teach them how to do a checkbook, you can teach them how to cook, you can teach them how to do things within keeping their own personal environment under control, the home. You can teach them how to interact with people in general. But after that, they're on their own because
Well,
you don't know who they're going to pick as partners. I told my son the other night, I said, you know what? I may have been married 5 times, but in reality, I've been married 8 times because I've been in the middle of all your marriages because you're always trying to dump them in my lap. And I'm tired of
my,
it.
my child that has been married doesn't do that.
Thank God. See, so
Yeah.
but I didn't teach my son to do that, But what happens is that he is really good at picking really emotional people to be partners with, and he doesn't like dealing with emotions. Hello, get a clue phone. Get a clue phone.
Well, but how much of that is that a lesson we need to learn, or is that what is that when we make those?
I think it's life. I think that you make choices to the best of your ability, hopefully. Some people don't. They just kind of go with the flow. I have literally seen people that just go through life like they're on a little banana boat raft in the middle of the ocean, and wherever it tosses them, that's where they are today. And they're just out there in the middle of the ocean trying to draw a map so they can figure out where the hell they are with nothing to base it on. There are people that do that. But, I think that you make the choices to the best of your ability and then say, okay, this was not what I signed up for. What do I need to change about me? And what happens though is that most people ask the wrong question. How can I make them change? You're not going to get them to change,
No, no, no.
you
You don't.
know?
All you can do is control you.
Exactly. And I just had a conversation with an ex-client of mine today, a corporate client, on a situation he was having. And I'm just going, you're one of the smartest people I know, but you're stupid. When you're not on retainer, you can say a lot of things that you don't normally say when you're on retainer. And basically you're wanting them to change and you're not willing to change how you relate to this person, and you're not getting what you want. So how stupid is it for you to not adjust or to make the adjustments that is necessary, either that or in the relationship? Those are the two choices: in the relationship
Well,
or make the adjustments.
and if you want something in a relationship, you have to actually express it. You can't,
And this
the other
person is a
person can't
terrible,
guess.
they're a terrible, terrible communicator. And he goes, how can you say that to me? I said, because I used to be you. I said, the difference between you and me, and why you're not the smartest person I know, because I'm smarter than you, is that I learned this lesson many, 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 many years ago and changed. You did not, and you still have not. Again, you can say whatever you want to when you're not a retainer. When I'm giving you my time for free, you're going to get it. So that I don't know. That's the other thing. Why do people feel the need to call names, put people in boxes, give them labels? Does that really give them the kind of relationships they want? And if you don't want a relationship that's positive with this group, these people, a individual, why even bother to communicate with them? That's what gets me on Facebook. I love to watch Facebook. Facebook is now Facebook is a comedy. I love Facebook. I laugh all the time on Facebook because you're like, why are these people even talking to each other? Well, do they really think they're going to change the other person's mind? They don't even know each other. I mean, They read each other
No.
every day. And why do they care? And I was real bad about this, and I decided it wasn't very Christian for me to do this, so I stopped. But I used to go in there and just say things just to stir the pot. And my husband said, "There's a
You.
word for that." And I'm like, "What, mean?" He goes, "No, it's called trolling." And I'm like, "Oh, that doesn't sound nice." So stirring the pot just to stir the pot is trolling. So I quit doing that because I don't want to be that kind of person, but it was fun. I'll admit.
But there are people that do that in relationships. You know,
Oh, yeah.
they say things to you because they know it'll set you off.
Yeah. I call that going to my dark side. That's when I let my dark side out. When I say things that I know are going to stir that pot or it's going to piss that person off.
Hmm.
I'm not trying to hurt their feelings necessarily, but I am trying to get a reaction out of them. And, in fact, Scott and I had a fight about this, not a fight, but we had a heated discussion because I said, I'm going to say this to this person. He goes, don't do that. That's not who you are. I said, yes, it is. I said, I have a very dark side and my dark side wants to play. He goes, that's not who you are. And then I got all mad at him because he was telling me not to be dark. And so then he says, I'll never tell you not to be dark and I will never tell you what to do. And so now it sounds like he's gone to the other spectrum. And so now I'm hacked off about that.
Well, I think that our spouse or the people closest to us, you do it to me all the time.
And see, that's not right either. That's not right either. We have a rule in our house. If I come to you and this is my complaint, you don't get to turn the conversation around and go, well, you do this, 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 and this. You're going to address the thing that's on the table. And then it goes both ways. The rules go both ways. They're not just one-way rules. So if whatever is on the table to be discussed, that's the only focal point of that conversation. If you have a complaint or something that's bothering you, then you get to initiate another conversation and that gets addressed in a separate conversation. But bringing up other negative crap to counteract the complaint on the table does not work in this house. You don't get to do that. And if it's not important enough to you to start your own conversation, then shut up.
But it doesn't bother me when you do it. I mean, I don't have anything to complain about because when you do it, I'm like, yeah, I know.
That's because I'm right a lot.
I didn't ever say you were right. I just said, I know. It's like
You never will.
No,
You never will.
I acknowledge that you feel that way about what I do.
Well, the thing about it is that deep down, there's validity to what I say. But at the same time, I don't need to be validated. It's my opinion. I can say what I want to. You, on the other hand, can take what I say and take what you want out of it and throw it away or take it to heart. But the bottom line from that bottom line is that we both know that we both have good intentions for each other.
I agree with that. And do you think
You know?
that in communicating, maybe between mother and child or husband and wife, they forget that? I'm talking to you, I'm telling you how I feel because I have your best interest at heart.
Yeah,
Right?
I don't want you to fail because that's going to affect me. No, I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing. No, you want them to succeed.
Where's
You want
where's the booze?
Well, I was just thinking that myself. Let's go back to when we used to do protein shakes with amaretto. That was really good. Remember those days?
I
Healthy
just
and
go, well, I just go straight to the whiskey now. I just don't even bother.
I think we should start doing that on Tuesdays. Tuesday should be our drinking day again.
We don't
Tipsy
talk on
Tuesday.
Tuesdays. We talk on Thursdays at 1 o'clock.
That's because you made that rule.
I did make that rule.
But here's the other
Because,
thing. I will say this because I want to poke at you a little bit.
oh
You do
God,
ask my opinion a lot for someone who doesn't think I'm right.
because I like to hear your opinion. I like to hear my friend's opinion. I like to be able to balance what I know I do and maybe what I do that's not either appropriate or correct. And a lot of times I do try to change my wording.
Well, the only thing I ever get on you about, if you could even call it that, is I'm always kind of kicking you in the butt to be more assertive. That's really it.
Yes. And one of the things I've done all my life is be aggressive. And I
Not
have,
as
right. And not, and it, by being aggressive, you immediately start an argument or a disagreement so deep that nobody wants to, you know, go there again. And so I'm trying to be more assertive, but I think that because I was so aggressive for so long, I just tone it all back. And so I'm not assertive enough. And do you see, I dialed it back too much.
you're a wimp.
No.
No, no, here's the thing, and this is so true of so many women, but you know what's weird is I'm seeing it more in younger men too. It's like in old women and young men. It's really weird. There are people pleasers in large groups. I mean, there's a higher percentage of people pleasers in those two groups based upon my encounters. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not labeling groups, but I see a lot of women in our age group that are people pleasers, and so you think, oh, okay, well that's a generational thing. We were raised that way, blah blah blah. But then I see this large group of younger men that are people pleasers as well, and I was thinking about that the other day, and I think that there might be an explanation of that, but not having the data, I can't really prove it. Is that maybe these men were raised by single moms,
Oh.
and and even though women don't do this on purpose, a lot of times what happens is that they cater to their children, especially male children, if it's like an only child or there's just two, out of guilt and remorse because they're not there for them enough. But we also have seen situations where the women put a lot of pressure on these young boys growing into men to be the man of the house. And they will actually say that, well, your dad's gone now, so you're the man of the house. Or
No.
I need you to be, tough, and need you to be, strong and grown up and be the man of the house. Well, it has the opposite effect a lot of times, and it turns them into people pleasers because they work so hard to please their mom. But then it's really hard to be a people pleaser and be the man of the house. So they get confused. They really get confused about who they are and what their roles are and how they feel about things.
Well, I never wanted my children to feel that way. Um, so you know, my job is to be your mom. Your job is to go to school and learn. That's what I used to tell them. But then when they would come to me whining about something, I would say, "Are you bleeding?" No. Well, if you're not bleeding in at least 3 places, you need to go outside and play.
My
So,
mom used to do something like that. Okay, so when we lived in Arkansas, we didn't have air conditioning. So the windows were always open in the summer and spring and all that. We closed the windows when it froze. All right. And I was a bookworm from the time I could hold a book in my lap. And so you would sit in front of the window because that's the coolest place in the house, and I would read. And my mom would come and go, "What are you doing? Go outside and get some fresh air." And my little logical engineer brain would go, "How much fresher does it get?" Why? So I would pick up my book and walk out the door and come around right here because where I was sitting was next to the front porch and sit in the chair on the front porch. I'm less than 2 feet away from where I was.
fresh air, fresh air.
And so here I am, and I have told this to the people in my family, so I'm not speaking. I'm sitting going, the adults in my family are stupid. Just
Actually, what they wanted you to do is to go outside and get some exercise and not sit on your butt.
well, I hate to disagree with you, but the reality is my mom just wanted me out of the house so she didn't have to look at me. So
Oh,
because if she didn't make me go get exercise, she
well,
didn't.
when my kids, we lived in a small town, and so they had the freedom to go and do whatever they wanted to do.
Yeah, we did
And there
too.
was a lot of times I didn't know where they were.
So, and we lived on the edge of the city limits, and it was mostly boys in our neighborhood, and we all rode our bikes around there. In the beginning, there's only so much bike riding you could do. And one of the boys' dad had a lumber yard in the neighborhood that he sold lumber from, and we'd play in the lumber yard. And oh my God, so many times we nearly got killed playing on those stacks of lumber.
Yeah, the kids like to go and play in the little creek that was not far from the house.
Yeah,
I'll
we
never
didn't have
forget.
we just had open gutters, big ditches. We had no pavement, no sidewalks, no gutters with sidewalks. It was just, I mean, we were poor. We were poor. We lived in a poor part of town.
They came home one time, something stung me and it was flying and it was green.
Yeah,
Okay, well,
yeah.
let's treat the sting. I don't have any
Well,
idea.
there was this big open field, catty corner from our house, where there was this dilapidated barn, and God knows how long it had been like that. And there was a crashed airplane in that barn. It was like one of those little one-man airplanes that had crashed, and the tail end of it sticking out of the barn. And we were told never to go play in that barn. Where did we play? We played in that damn barn. It's a wonder the plane didn't fall out and just kill us all.
Right, exactly. Well,
So
my youngest son pointed out to me today that this is a different world and kids just can't, they have their own phones, you can trace them. And if they're on social media, they're telling everybody where they are. They're telling everybody if they're by themselves. They're telling everybody, and they're setting themselves up for bad people to come and get them. And I said,
that's true. That's true. I just had this conversation with my son about my granddaughter. When we were growing up, you had to pay attention to babies. You had to pay attention to toddlers. You had to pay attention to the kids in elementary school because they were too stupid to live. And so the parents had to watch them to make sure that they weren't drinking Drano or whatever, and running out in front of cars, stuff like that. What I pointed out to my son is that Scarlett's becoming a teenager, and she needs to be left alone less, not more, as she gets older, because
yes.
there are actually more threats to her while she is inside the house as she gets older than there were when she was younger. So I said, the attention that we pay her will be different, but it's actually accelerated compared to what it was when she was younger. Because, frankly, she has a lot of common sense. And I could sit her down at a table with a coloring book for an hour and not worry about her. But now, like your son said, with social media, phones, GPSs, and all this stuff, like, how many kids do you know their parents go to work at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning? The kids get themselves ready for school and ride a bus, or someone picks them up and goes to school, but they're literally in the house for an hour to 2 hours before school starts. You can't do that anymore in good consciousness. You just can't.
And after school,
Yes.
a lot of times.
Yes. I mean, when I was not 6 years old, when I was in sixth grade, my parents divorced and my mom got a job, and I would ride the school bus home with my oldest brother. I was in sixth grade, he was in first grade. And I would get home, I would help him with his homework, I would do my homework, I would vacuum the house, dust the house, and cook dinner before my mother got home. Now, that was good training for me, but I would never, ever expect a 10-year-old in this day and age to do that now, strictly because I would not want them to be without an adult in the home. Period. It's about having that adult supervision. So when my kids were growing up, if I wasn't at home after school, I had a professional nanny there to do all those things. I never left my kids alone. First of all, I feared they'd burn the house down. That was just for my own protection.
Well, yeah, my youngest child almost burned the house down. So yeah. But the thing about it, the thing about him was I had him in school, after school care. Gosh darn it. Uh, but the problem was that after school care was across the street from our house.
No. So he'd just go home. I know how he thinks.
He says, yeah, I'm bored over here. I'm going home. And he would just up and go home and not tell anybody. So
But how did he get out without them seeing him? That's the big question.
I don't know. He
Man,
was good at it.
I'd be filing a lawsuit so fast it make your head spin. Oh my God. Oh
No,
my
because
God.
I know how he was, and they had what, 10 kids to take care of at a time, or 15?
Well, and again, you have to assess every situation based upon its merits. How many daycare centers have killed children, or children have gotten hurt, or they've been molested? So to go and look at something that looks good on paper, okay, now I'm gonna get woo-woo. How many people listen to their instincts? Okay, this has got a great license, the people all seem nice, but something doesn't feel right. Then don't leave your kid there.
Yeah, I had no ill will toward these people because I knew how my child was sneaky. I knew how he would make excuses. I knew, and I finally told him, look, if you're not going to stay at the daycare because you need supervision after school, then I'm not going to pay for it and you're going to stay home by yourself all the time. Okay. Of course, his brother, 4 years older than him, was usually around, but still, John didn't watch him.
Well, I was gonna say, could he control him? Could he make him do
Well,
right?
no. Well,
So see,
no.
you have to. Okay, and then there are just these weird extremes, and again, it goes back to common sense. When my son was in daycare, I knew the owners of the daycare center, and the husband was actually my attorney. He was a lawyer. He and his wife owned the daycare center. He was my attorney. I had a full-time attorney because I was in the bail bond business at the time, so I had to have legal representation. And I brought a client to him that was going through a terrible divorce. She was in an abusive marriage. He got her help. He handled her divorce. She got a job with me. She was working for me, and her child was staying at the daycare center. One day, she was also dating a Dallas County sheriff. So, I mean, does it sound any safer? Does it sound like it can get any safer? She's
Sounds pretty
surrounded by
safe.
friends, and her professional team is also her personal team. She
Mhm.
pulls into the daycare center one day with her boyfriend, gets out of the car, and her ex-husband's there and shoots them both dead. Yeah, I'm letting you absorb that. The reason I'm bringing this up is that there were people that were actually talking about suing the daycare center for not taking enough precautions. What precautions could they have taken? What could they have
None.
done?
None. They couldn't have done anything.
I mean, he was standing on the street and shot into the parking lot and killed them both.
There's nothing you
Almost
can
got
do.
me. I almost got into the line of fire.
Well, that's why, I could not blame the people who worked there because they were upset that they couldn't find him. They were upset that he would up and leave and go home. They would get on the phone and call me immediately.
So it sounds
So it
like
was,
that your son is like some other children out there that is very precocious.
mhm,
Like my brother, we had a I guess it was a 56 or 57 Chevy pickup truck. The old four on the floor. The
mhm,
big fenders and all this stuff.
mhm.
My brother was 3 years old. And looking back now, he had ADD bad. I mean, we always called him a little monkey. You couldn't keep him under control. And you turned your back and he was gone. He got into that truck. I don't know how he got the keys, started that truck, put it in reverse, and drove it backwards for 2 blocks before he ran it into the gutter. Backwards. Backwards. Now, I got in trouble for that because I'm supposed to be watching them. But the point is that you can't watch them all the time if they have those tendencies. And
No.
so this is where common sense, compassion, understanding, empathy, walking the mile in someone's moccasins, all this plays into effect when you're making decisions on how, I mean, you know, was it my fault he did that? No. Was it the daycare's fault? Well, I don't know. I'd have to look and see how their security. Do they have a security system? Do they have a fenced-in yard? I mean, there are a lot of things that you could ask. But if they had done everything they were supposed to do, then you just had a child he just needed a whooping. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, yes, and yes, because that was, I know we're talking about communication, but That was communication with my 8-year-old or 6-year-old or whatever he was at the time, 6, I guess, because it's like, this is dangerous for you. You can't leave here. I pay for this daycare for a reason.
Well, see, I had the same thing with me. I got bored at school and I would just get up and leave the classroom and I go to the library so I could read. And so what the teachers did, they wanted to move me up a grade or two, but my parents were against that. So they just put me into a position to tutor the other students to keep me occupied. So you have to get creative with some of this stuff. But again, it's communication is what we started talking about, but it's also understanding what you're communicating. And we talk about getting the facts, but there's facts and then there's reality, and they are different. The fact is your son left daycare. The
Yeah.
reality is they didn't know what to do about
Well, and I really didn't know what to do about it either. I I can't chain him to the bed or chain him to so what the heck? How
Well,
do
and
you
you see articles all the time on the internet about people that put their kids on leashes, and I'm like, I bet those kids need a leash, because
exactly?
you know because kids can dart out, and if you're in a crowd, you can lose track of them real quick,
Hmm.
you
You
know.
can. And that was
So
the other thing, you tell your child, we're going shopping. Do not get inside the clothes and hide in there because I'm going to think that something's happened to you and I'm going to be hysterical. And what is the first thing he does?
you
Hides
gave him
inside the
ammunition.
clothes.
You gave him ammunition. He didn't have to think. You told him what he could do. Bad mom.
Well, because he did it the first time, and then the first time he did it, then you're just like, no, we're not doing this. No.
Well, today is my mom's 90th birthday. Wish her a happy birthday.
I did. Happy birthday, Lula.
So tell people where they can find you, Miss Herbal Lou.
Oh, at herbal-lou.com. That's herbal-lu.com. Or herbalou1105 at gmail.com.
And we do this show because we just like doing it. I don't know if you want to call it a show. We do whatever it is that we're doing because we love doing it. And we think if anyone would ever watch this, they would love it too. It's just getting people to watch it.
Yeah, we have a tendency to kind of go off sometimes, but it's
I stay off. I don't go off. I stay off. I had a friend tell me the other day. I said, I know I'm rambling, and he goes, no, you don't ramble. You have very deep thoughts on a lot of things at one time. And he goes, I'm proud of you for the way that you maneuver these in your brain.
well, I can hold 2 or 3 conversations at a time, so please. I just, when I worked at my lab job, I was usually doing my thing, talking to my coworker. 2 or 3 teachers would come and ask me questions, and I would be answering those questions and thinking about the next thing I needed to do. So,
Well, we both keep up with each other,
uh,
so I mean, we're a good match.
yeah.
And so this is actually sponsored. Oh, I forgot to tell them where we were recording today. Well, we just jumped into it. We are at the Clear Point Crystal Studios, and we
Yes.
are sponsored by Miles of Smiles Entertainment and Events. We do interactive entertainment, fortune telling, handwriting analysis for gigs and parties and stuff. And so take a look at us there, milesofsmilesevents.com. And you can email me anytime at DeborahColleenRose@gmail and just tell me whatever you want to tell me. I won't tell.
And if you're out there and have an opinion you wanted to share, we might even let you come and talk to us. Be
No,
3 of us.
no.
We might.
It might. That's how I got Luann. Luann butted in on another show I was doing, and I haven't been able to get rid of her. Look, a
Well,
friend of mine gave me a bracelet. Isn't that pretty?
that is. Is that lapis?
Lapis and peridot.
Wow.
Ooh, I should make that into a headpiece.
There you go.
There. So, anyway, somebody likes me.
Well, that's one.
Okay, boomer. All
All right.
right, we will see y'all
Whatever.
next. All right, tell them bye-bye.
Bye now.